All right, welcome to day one of story time. Day one. Today, no, not day two, just day one. Today we're going to be reading Lincoln's favorite book.
Day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9, day 10.
Day 10. All right, The Caboose Who Got Loose by Bill Peet. This is Lincoln's favorite book and one he's so excited to share with you. As you can see, it's all ripped up, but we're so happy about reading this book. All right, we like to count the trains on this page. Can you count them? There's a lot. All right, The Caboose Who Got Loose by Bill Peet. When Katie Caboose rambled down the train tracks, the engines were steamers with puffing smokestacks. She was a caboose who disliked being last, with an endless black cloud of smoke rolling past. It's not only too smoky, the caboose would complain. There's the jerks and the jolts of this noisy freight train. The engine up front always wore a big smile as he lumbered along for mile after mile. He was proud of his being so powerful and strong that he could haul a freight train 100 cars long. So on he went chugging, no worry or care, leaving Katie Caboose in dark clouds of despair. Katie had little hope she would ever get loose or ever be anything but a caboose. I can wish, sighed poor Katie, what else can I do? If you wish hard enough, then your wish might come true. Often Katie would wish that she someday could be something quiet and simple like a lovely elm tree, or a ramshackle barn all alone on a hill, where the noisiest thing was the squeaky windmill. It might become lonely, she thought, way out there, but at least there's a view with a lot of fresh air. Look at the picture. Look. Whenever she passed through a small country town, Katie wished she could stop and just settle down and be one of the houses who sat in a row. Scarecrow. On a tree-shaded street and have no place to go. It's a restful, thought Katie, where one can relax as she hurried and scurried on down the train tracks. Good. We like this picture here. What she wished most to be, much more than the rest, was the cabin she'd seen on her trips through the West. A little log shack half covered with vines, perched on a slope in a forest of pines. How perfect, thought Katie as she hurried on by it, to live there in the trees where it's peaceful and quiet. But all the caboose could look forward to was a deep rocky canyon the train traveled through. Where huge boulders leaned way over the tracks in towering, top-heavy, gigantic stacks. What is holding them up, frightened Katie would wonder as the earth-shaking train went rumbling right under. If one should come loose and fall down upon her, it would squash Katie flat, and then she'd be a goner. If she didn't get squashed, there was more to be dreaded up the winding, steep grade where the engine was headed. High up in the mountains were terrible ledges where the track ran along only feet from the edges. The view was breathtaking, but after one look, it was so upsetting she shivered and shook. If she slipped off the tracks, then down she would go to be smashed into bits on the rocks far below. Then poor Katie received even more of a fright from a smoke-blackened tunnel as dark as the night, and she crept through the tunnel with a horrible thought that far back in the darkness she'd suddenly be caught by caboose-eating monsters who lurked all about. They would gobble her up before she got out. Lincoln loves that part. Caboose-eating monsters. Okay, come on. No, we're gonna finish the book and then we'll do it again. Okay, one more time. Then poor Katie received even more of a fright from a smoke-blackened tunnel as dark as the night. And she crept through the tunnel with a horrible thought. As far back in the darkness, she'd suddenly be caught by caboose-eating monsters who lurk all about. They would gobble her up before she got out. Okay, look at the train. Look, Lincoln. Her trips always ended near a city somewhere, way out in a freight yard with smoke clouding the air, where a turmoil of trains made a great noisy rumble. on crisscrossing tracks, an impossible
I try
jumble.
again.
Yeah, when we're done, honey.
Try again.
Okay. The train came to a stop and the cars were unhitched, then off to a sidetrack. The caboose was soon switched, where Katie could sit and take in the fine scenery with such lovely sights as a load of machinery. Coal cars and flat cars, lumber stacked on their
I
backs.
try again.
Squealing carloads of pigs with snouts poking through cracks. They always left Katie in the midst of it all while the engine received a complete overhaul.
I try again.
The huge engine at
I try
last,
again.
okay, had run down from the strain. From the 10,000 miles he'd hauled the long train. Back in the roundhouse, men swarmed all about. Check over and under him, inside
I
and
try
out.
again.
Yeah. Replacing old pistons and bolts that were missing.
No, try
Catching
again.
leaks in the boiler that made a loud hissing.
No, try
Cleaning rust from his
again.
piping that ran everywhere. Checking steam valves and pumps in great need of repair. Oh, look at the ghost. As Katie sat there through one long dreary night, staring up through the smoke at a red signal light,
Smoke.
a small house appeared in the sky like a ghost. A shack of the switchman perched high on a post. I'd like to be you, said the shack very sadly. If I could trade places, I would very gladly. A caboose is what I've always wanted to be, for you have the best life from what I can see. Look at that sad little shack. Look at this sad shack. Yeah.
Two.
Before Katie could think of some way to reply, yes, in a minute. All at once, a long train came thundering by.
No.
The next thing she knew, she was jerked and then jolted, then hitched to the train with her coupler bolted.
I try again.
As the train left the freight yard, poor Katie looked back
I try
to catch a
again.
last glimpse of the sad little shack. Yeah, when we're done, we'll do it again. From now on, Katie promised I shall never complain. I'll be a happy caboose at the end of a train and put up with the jolts, the train noise, and the rest, all the smoke that rolls by, or at least try my best. With her new point of view, she enjoyed the long ride. It was a fun trip through the broad countryside. But when the train crept up a steep mountain grade, then poor Katie found she was still afraid, and once more she began to shiver and shake at the thought of the frightening curve she must take. Her unsteady wheels could cause her to slip, which would suddenly put a quick end to the trip. It was a hot afternoon and the going was rough, and the engine up front was in a puffing big huff. He groaned, what a day to chug up such a grade on a bare mountainside without one bit of shade. When he came steaming over the very last hump, he lunged with a fury that made the cars jump, all the way back to Katie, who got such a jolt that it snapped off a rusty old coupling bolt. Way down there, see? Way down there. She was free of the train, at last she was loose, and away down the grade flew Katie Caboose. On down the hill she flew faster and faster, straight for a curve and certain disaster. No. When Katie hit the curve, she took off like a kite, high over the treetops on her first and last flight. That would quickly have ended poor Katie Caboose if it hadn't been for two towering screws. The caboose became caught in a very tight squeeze between the tall trunks of two evergreen trees. At first she could hardly believe her good luck. What a wonderful place it was to be stuck. She thought sure she was dreaming, it couldn't be true. Here she was in the trees with a beautiful view. It's so perfect, sighed Katie, yet I'm really not free. I know sooner or later they'll come looking for me. And then sure enough, up the mountain that night came a train with a crane and a powerful light. She could have gone leaping off here, yelled the boss of the crew. She could have gone leaping off here, came a shout, like a great glaring eye, then the light searched about. It flashed past the trees down the steep rocky bluff, and it searched high and low, but not quite high enough. Or it would have soon spotted the missing caboose.
What's that?
Oh, what is it?
Moose.
But all they could find was a startled bull
Moose.
moose, that's right. Let's all call it quits, growled the boss of the crew. For all that I care, she's in Kalamazoo. Where's Kalamazoo? Katie stayed in the treetops. No one ever found her, except for the birds and the squirrels all around her. At last she was free, just as free as the breeze, and how Katie did love it up there in the trees. And indeed, oh indeed, Katie did. Awesome. Thank you for joining me on our very first story time. We hope everybody has a wonderful day. Bye. Can you say bye?
Bye.
Bye. Wave. See ya. Good. Now press that button right there.